The MPC-1 has a built-in sampler, and it's very simple to plug your turntable into the MPC-1 and sample drum breaks to make a drum kit. So in this video, I'm going to take a record, record a drum break, make a drum kit, and I want to show you how I'm going to do it. Go ahead and check it out. What's up? My name is Matthew, helping you create music on this channel. I do setup videos, tutorials, and overviews on how to use musical gear. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. Now in this particular video, I'm going to show you how to take your turntable, put a record on it, and go ahead and sample right into your MPC-1. Now the kind of sample I'm going to use is going to be a drum break, and it's going to have some drums on it that we can actually isolate, take those drums, and make a drum program out of it. And this way in the future, if we just want to load up a drum program really quickly, we can do that, and we have one on standby. So I want to show you how to do that right now. If you look at the MPC-1 here, I have a blank project loaded up, and I just renamed it for the show. This is an episode of Matthew Creating Music, so I just renamed it, but everything else is blank. Right here we have a drum program 001. By default, this is loaded up into every single new project. So I simply am going to use this drum program to load our sounds into. Now, once you have your project loaded up, what you can do very simply is press sampler. It's going to take you over to the sampler. Once you're in the sampler, there's a couple things you need to make sure that you have set up right here. You need to make sure you have your correct input set up, and this input is 1 and 2. So I have the turntables plugged directly into the MPC-1, into input 1 and 2, and I'm able to do this because this turntable has a preamp built into it. So there's a preamp built into it. There's a switch on the back. I put it on line, so it's going to send a line level signal out into the MPC-1 inputs. The MPC-1 inputs are line level, okay? And then once I put those in, I set right here in the back, there's a knob. I set that knob, to an appropriate level for the turntables. Now, if you want to see more details on how to set this up, I will link a card in this video. So go ahead and check out that video on how to set up your turntable with the MPC-1. Once you have your input set up, another thing to know is the max length. So this max length needs to be long enough to include the entire drum break that you're going to record into your MPC-1. So if it's not long enough, you're not going to get that whole drum break in there, and it's just going to be annoying. You're going to have to try to record it multiple times. Just make sure that this maximum length, is set to a number that's good enough to record the drum break. So right now I have it set on 1 minute. By default, I think it's at 20 seconds. So just be aware of that. And if you want to monitor what's going on, with your sampler right here, there's a monitor button. So this way I can monitor the record as I'm sampling it. Okay. And what I want to do now is put this needle onto the groove where that drum break is. So at the beginning of the drum break. Now I already have a song selected here, and you need to make sure that you pick whatever you want, you have it kind of sorted out before going and doing this. So I already have mine sorted out. I'm going to pull this over. Now this is an automatic turntable. This is the Audio-Technica AT-LP60. I'll leave a link in the description if you're interested in this turntable. This way you can get an idea of the exact turntable I'm using here. But what I'm going to do now is drop the needle. Okay. Just going to drop it on there. I'm going to hit arm. Here's our drum break. So I'm going to go ahead and record that in there. When I'm done, I'm going to push stop. Okay. Now, once that's done recording, what I want to do is go ahead and go to the sample editor. But before I do that, I want to go ahead and rename it right here. So I'm going to name this what it is. So you can't really see it, but here's the record I'm using. Okay, so I'm just going to name it something similar to what the record actually is and what the artist is. All right, and then I'm just going to name it Break, just for time's sake. Now, once that's in there, I'm not going to assign it to a program, but what I am going to do is go into where it says Edit. That's going to take me over to Sample Edit. Now, once you're in Sample Edit, the first thing that shows up here is Trim. So This is kind of the trim tab within sample edit. We're going to be able to trim off the start and end. All right, so I can get rid of some of the silence and some of the notes at the end that I don't want using trim mode. Let me show you how to do that. So you'll see there's a green flag here. This is the start point. If I move this cue link, by default, these are on the start point, and then pad 10 is going to start playing the sample pad or the sample playback at that start point. So right there. Now I can move that anywhere on here. So if I wanted to move it further down, I could do that. And then once you have your start point set up, you could set your end point. So if you go over here, press cue link again, it's going to make it to where you could change the end point. So this is probably pretty good. So what I'm doing is I'm just trying to get enough in there to where I have enough of the drum hits that I can actually select which ones I actually want to put in my drum kit. So when I get my start and end point selected, processed, and then the first option here is discard. So it's going to discard everything before the start point and after the end point. We got a nice clean sample here. Now the next thing you may or may not want to do is normalize it or adjust the gain. I'm going to normalize it. So I'm going to go in here and select normalize, do it. It's just going to make everything as loud as it can be without clipping. So here's what we have. Cool, so now we successfully recorded a drum break into the MPC one. We trimmed it so that, there's not too much going on. We got pretty much a good number of drum hits to select. Now we can go in there and chop it up. So I want to show you a simple method to do this. So once you're done with trim, if you tap trim again, it's going to take you over to chop. Now you can manual chop it. I'm not even going to go into that right now. I'm going to press threshold. So right next to manual is threshold. Now I've found a good starting point with threshold is going to be 50 on your threshold and then 100 on your mid time. And that's usually a pretty good start point. And then you can kind of mess with it from there. Okay, so there we go. 62 threshold. I think that's looking pretty good. All right, so once you get that chopped up, what you can do is start selecting parts. So you notice threshold basically put a bunch of flags on here. So right here is a flag, a flag, a flag, all the way up to 18 different flags. Now each one of these flags represents a slice. So you can scroll through your slices like so. So my box is around that slice, and then I can scroll through them. Now, if you go all the way to the left, that's going to be the whole thing. Now, if you scroll through them, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 18. Hey, if you're finding value in this video, remember to give it a thumbs up below. It's going to help this video get seen by those who might want to see it. Also, consider sharing it. It's about sharing information, helping each other out. So if you think this video can actually help somebody, consider sharing it. Let's go ahead and get back into the video. These individual slices can be assigned to your program now. So remember that program 001. So we're going to use that program 001 to start putting these slices into. And then basically you just pick the ones you want to put into that program and build your drum kit. So let's go ahead and do this thing. Let's really do this thing. Come on, y'all. So basically I'm going to pick a kick, maybe a couple kicks, a couple snares, a couple hi-hats. Let's do it. Let's do it right now. So let's go to pad bank A. So if you just start tapping the pads, like you got a hi-hat, snare, kick. All right. There's a really loud snare. I like the way that sounds. There's a kick. It's a kick. Another snare. There's a close hi-hat. There's an open hi-hat. So I got a close, or wait, we got an open hi-hat, close hi-hat, got a kick, got another kick, and a snare. So I think that's going to build the basic drum kit. So let's start with the kicks. All right, this one sounds decent. So what I'm going to do is actually, I am going to zoom in on that because right here at the end, a part of that next sound is starting to come in. So I want to make sure I'm on the end cue link. So I want to pull that back a little bit. That sounds pretty good. So we got kick and we got kick. Now, I am going to mention this just because if I don't mention this, there's going to be a million comments about it. If you press shift, right here is zero snap. So anybody who's wondering where zero snap is, there's zero snap. All right, I'll explain that. If you need me to explain it, I'll explain it to you in the video. But I just know from the past, if I don't show you where that is, we're going to get a million comments about how MPC doesn't have zero snap. Yes, there's zero snap in there, okay? All right, so I am going to bring back the endpoint of this hi-hat as well. And right there. And on this snare. Pull the endpoint back. And you notice I'm using this one here to pull it back too. So it's pretty nice how you can use all these different things to your advantage. So that snare sounding good. That kick sounding good. That kick. They actually almost sound too similar. But that's okay. I'll customize the sound of it later. Got a snare. Got an open hi-hat. Close hi-hat. So I'm going to assign the kicks now. So I'm going to assign the kick that's right here on this one. Slice 7. Onto a pad. So let me show you how to do this. So we got everything sliced up. We got our slices we want. Now we need to assign these slices into our program. So this kick right here, I'm going to push shift, convert, and then I'm going to go over to where it says assign slice to a pad, pad A01 to program right there. That's the correct program. Press do it and assign that pad to that program. I want to assign this one now. All right, I'm just going to do this all at once. To pad A05, so that's the second kick. I want to assign the snare. I'm going to press convert. I want to put it on pad A02, press do it, and then I want to assign the open hi-hat, convert. I want to assign this one over pad A03, press do it, and then which one? All right, close hi-hat. Excuse me, I don't know what that was. Hi-hat. All right, I'm going to assign this one over to pad 4, press do it. All right, and then I might pick one more snare. Maybe this one right here. Bring that endpoint. Yeah, let's assign this one. So I'm going to convert this one over to pad A06. So we got a couple snares to choose from, a couple kicks. Got a close hi-hat and an open hi-hat. And I'll probably pick this other hi-hat. Just so there's some, things to choose from. Go ahead and press convert. Put that on pad A07. Do it. Done. Everything's assigned. So let me show you what we actually did. I know we went kind of fast. You can go back and rewatch what I did. But let me show you what I actually did here. So if you go to main, make sure that program 001 is selected. So we got program 001, pad bank A, got a kick, got a snare, got an open hi-hat, close hi-hat, kick, and snare. Now, I need to switch these. I messed up. I apologize. I'm only human. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch these slices. So if you go to program edit, if you come over here, you can select your slices. So like this slice on pad 4 is slice 16. I can actually change it to slice 15. So you see slice 16 here. I'm just going to pull it back. So now that's going to be an open hi-hat. And then I'm going to go to pad A03. I want to put this on slice 16. That's going to be a closed hi-hat. Okay, there we go. So now that that's done, the next thing to do is to assign these hi-hats to a mute group. So over here is LFO modulation. Here's where your mute group is. So select pad with the hi-hat. So this pad has the closed hi-hat. I want to put that on pad mute group 1. Open hi-hat is going to go on pad mute group 1. Okay, this other closed hi-hat is going to be on pad mute group 1. So now all 3 of these hi-hats are on one mute group, and that one mute group is going to basically cut off any of those sounds. So when I play an open hi-hat and then a closed hi-hat, that closed hi-hat's going to shut off that open hi-hat. So it's like it's like you're clamping down on that hi-hat. So you got to think in terms of an actual drummer, what an actual real drum set sounds like. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. All right. So what I'm going to do now is kind of adjust the tonality of these kicks. So if you listen to this, that's a nice, good, punchy kick on pad 1. The same with pad 5, but I'm kind of going to customize pad 5. So over here is filter envelope. I want to add a low pass on that. Kind of, flatten that pad out, the sound of it, kind of lo-fi it. A little bit on that one, not too much, just to kind of take some of that crispiness out of it. All right, so now the last thing to do is kind of set the levels of everything. So I'm going to go to main. I'm going to tap this eyeball. I'm going to go right here. So right here, you can adjust the levels of each individual pad. So kick is good. Snare needs to come down. So I'm going to pull the snare down. Sounds pretty good. Snare sounds good. This hi-hat sounds pretty good. I'm probably going to bring it down a little bit for now. Bring that one down. And bring that one down. So now, let's go ahead and listen to our drum kit right now. So I think this kick needs to be opened up a little more. Go back to program edit. This should sound good. So now let's listen to it. Booyah! So there we go. Nice sounding drum kit. So the last thing to do is to go to main, tap right here on this pencil icon, rename this whatever you want to rename it. I'm just going to name it drum kit. I don't know. Maybe I'll name it drum kit Bobby H. All right, that's supposed to be Bobby. So Bobby H. Then what I'll do is I'll save this program. So check it. You can save this. You can save this wherever you want. By default, it takes you over here. Just save it to somewhere where you'll remember it. I do recommend saving it on an external. So MPC 1. So I'm going to save it on this one, I suppose. And then I want to make a new folder. I want to name this folder Programs. Okay. And then press do it. And then new folder. And I want to name this one Kits. So maybe like drum kits. Do it. And then in this folder, I'm going to go ahead and just push save. So it's going to save that drum kit into that folder. So now at any point in time in any project, I can load that kit up. So that could be like a go-to kit just so I can have something in there, right? And then so whenever I'm working on any beat, if I just want a quick drum kit to load up, you know what I mean? I can just load up this kit. Booyah! That's how you go ahead, record a drum break, create a drum kit, and save it on your MPC 1. If you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a thumbs up, share it if you found it helpful and you think it might help somebody, go ahead and share it. And, subscribe while you're here. And if you want to see more videos like this, click or tap the screen over here. It's going to take you over to a playlist. It's going to contain more videos about the MPC 1 and videos like this. So, maybe it'll help you out. My name is Matthew. Continue creating music, and we will talk soon. Thanks, y'all.